Big G does it all.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Big G Does It All. Today we're taking a look at the brand new MGX series mixers from Yamaha. All right, so in front of me, we have the MGX16. Now, these mixers are kind of to bridge the gap between the classic MG analog mixers and to bring them into the digital age. This one is the MGX16, but there's three other versions. There's this one, the MGX12, the MGX12V, and the MGX16V. So the V at the end means that there's an HDMI input and output. So this can actually embed the audio into an HDMI feed and then send it out with good audio coming out of the mixer. I didn't need that feature, so I went with the MGX16. This one has 8 combo input jacks, so you can do 1/4 inch or XLR. It comes with 2 stereo pair channels for 1/4 inch and 2 stereo pair RCAs. A lot of people hating on the RCAs in 2026, but I'm a fan of them. I always have been. Is nothing like having somebody show up and be like, I need to get audio from this laptop. Boom. I have like a drawer full of these things. So they're nice to have around. It's not like they're taking away anything from the mixer. It's just an addition. All right. And then you have your stereo outputs here. On top of that, this is where this mixer really shines. You have 4 headphone outputs. So if you're using this in the podcast studio, you have 4 headphone outputs built in, but on top of that, you now have 8 Omni outputs. So one thing that I hated with the Rodecaster is you only have those headphone outs and the stereo output. However, now that I have these Omni outs, I can have 4 headphones going to my clients with different mixes, and then I can send the Omni outs to different recorders for backup, and I can also send audio to my cameras. So my cameras are going to get awesome audio coming into the cameras that I can use for post-production, and it's also going to back up the audio recording. So really amazing feature having that many outputs on a mixer this size. All right, another feature on this mixer is you can multi-track record to SD. Now, it is a little weird. As you can see right now, one of the sources is 1.2, so that's actually going to record as a stereo file, and I would have to split that. So I have microphone 1, you can see the input level, and then if I had microphone 2 talking, you would see that level moving a little more. I would have to split that in post-production to have 2 separate mono files, so it is a little weird there. You could send a mix to output and record. So if I were to hit that, you see I can assign it to whatever I want. So I could assign it down here to mix 1 if I wanted, but that's going to kind of eat up my mixes, and I don't really want to do that. But it is an option. Or you could just record a stereo file altogether as a backup, which is fine. But if you want separate control for later on, that is how it will record. It also is a little weird how it records. So with Yamaha, you have to hit the record button. You can see the button is activated. That does not mean it's recording. You actually have to hit play. Now you can see the time showing up at the bottom there. That means it is actively recording. So it is a little different, a little bit kind of weird, but it does work. And then you can stop there and back out. So this Yamaha mixer also comes with a pad bank over here. It comes stock with some sound effects sounds. I never use those things, but I guess some people out there might do it. You can also record custom sounds to the pads if you would like. However, one thing I am excited about is there's different banks here. So I can come over here, and now I have user assigned keys, and this is perfect for if I have someone on headphone 1, mix 1, or headphone 2, I come over here, so I can go to headphone 2. Now I have my send levels to that. So if somebody wants more of their own vocal, I can turn it up here. I can turn down the other vocal over here. However, it's patch, same thing for mix 1, mix 3, 4, all the way down, or your Omni output controls. So really great feature there. And there's some other options as well, but that's what I'm going to primarily use those for in studio. All right, so they do have these encoder buttons down here as well. I do wish they utilized these a little bit better. Maybe they will down the road in a future update. But this touchscreen right here can be a little hard sometimes to, especially if you have bigger fingers. Sometimes when I go to like select the gate, I want to actually open the gate channel here, but instead it's selected that the kind of button, the global button over here, which I didn't want to do. I wanted to actually open up the gate. Or sometimes when I hit it, I might actually hit it like that, and then the gate turned off. There it goes, and now it opened up. So sometimes it's a little quirky like that. I would have rather had the gate, compressor, EQ assigned to these buttons so I could click it, and it would bring up that full menu. Small quirk, but something to note, especially if you were going to try and use this as a live mixer. You know, you don't want to be shutting things down when you're trying to open it. It also has this user assigned one quick key, so you can pull up this knob and then there's a little menu for your screen brightness, your headphone volumes. I think I have monitor volumes on here. I do monitor 1 through 4. So kind of a quick assign. I haven't really messed with that too much. So overall build quality of this thing is built like a tank, nice metal construction. This feels like a real piece of gear, really nice looking in the studio. The Rodecaster Pro 2 I used to have, you know, it felt plasticky. I felt like I was going to break it all the time. This thing doesn't feel that way. It feels like a nice, solid Yamaha product. Another thing about this mixer is the preamps are so good. This mixer sounds amazing. Right now I have a SM7B plugged directly into the mixer itself. It has 80 dB of clean gain, which is plenty to drive those gain-hungry microphones like the SM7B, and it sounds awesome. I also like that over here you have full 4-band EQ as opposed to like, you know, some of the other companies are limited with the EQ ability. You do have a compressor, your gate, the effects. Let's talk about these 3 faders over here. So this is one thing I think was a miss is you have 2 effects faders, which is fine for live, but not everyone's going to be using this in a live situation. And then you have this pad fader that controls the sound effect level pads. These 3 I wish would have been user assignable faders. It would have been nice to assign my Bluetooth channel to one, my USB to one, and maybe my DAW to the other. That would have been a little bit more helpful so I didn't have to eat up all my stereo channels, because if I want to fill this mixer up with inputs, now I have to sacrifice my stereo channel. So it would have been cooler to see these 3 be user assignable. And speaking of Bluetooth and USB, this is a mixer that has Bluetooth built into it, so you can turn Bluetooth on. It is under a weird setting. You got to go up to here, go under peripheral, and then down to Bluetooth, and then you can pair it there. And then that way you can get sound into your mixer from your phone or something. It also has a USB main to hook up into your laptop. That way you can use your favorite DAW and, you know, multi-track record. And then it has a USB sub. And what that's good for is plugging in like your iPhone USB-C, and then you can get audio over that. Or if you need to make a phone call, you can actually send it over the USB sub, which is really cool. So let me talk about the one absolute major thing that I am very upset Yamaha missed on this. You cannot copy and paste any channel. You cannot save channel presets. So I'm on channel 1 right now, and if I dial in my SM7B to sound exactly how I want it, and I want to, you know, have the same setting for my other guest on channel 2 and 3, I'm going to have to go into every individual gate, compressor, EQ, and dial that in. You can't copy and paste it. You can't save a preset. You can't even save presets for the EQs, compressors, gates, or anything like that. You got to dial that all in by hand. So that is a huge fail on Yamaha, in my opinion. If they are able to fix that, then this thing is going to be a powerhouse. That is the one really big complaint I have. Everything else I love about this mixer. Now, I do also feel like Yamaha kind of missed the branding on this. They put it in the MG family, which is their analog consoles. However, I don't really think it fits there because I think it adds a little bit of confusion. I think this mixer is extremely powerful for content creators or for podcasters, you know, or an in-home studio. I don't think this would be a great live mixer, and a few reasons for that, because if you're already doing analog, then you might as well kind of keep doing analog if you're going to do this setup. If you want to get into the digital realm of mixers, this doesn't really provide enough tools for you. There's no graphic EQs. There's limited compressors and limiters on the master stereo out. Plus your monitor mixes, no graphic EQ. So you're still going to have to bring that outboard gear like compressor limiters and EQs with you, where for the price point of the MGX16, you could probably spend a little bit more and maybe get an X32 and have some of those graphic EQs available, or plenty of other digital mixers within that price range, whether it's a Personas, Allen & Heath, or whatever it is. Those are going to have some more options that mean you don't have to bring that extra gear with you when you're going out. Now, if you were a band that just had a small little setup or a solo artist, sure, this would probably work fine. And I'm sure you could dial it in pretty good, but every room's going to be different. So not having graphic EQ built in is a big fail, in my opinion, for a live sound mixer. So aside from those two things, I think this thing is a powerhouse. I'm so glad that I bought this and I returned my Rode, because this is doing everything that I always wished my Rode could do. Very happy with it, and I hope Yamaha will update a few of those features I talked about, and I'm sure they will. This thing's very brand new, so there's plenty of firmware updates coming down the pipeline, I assume. So very happy overall. I'm going to put a link to these models down in the description. This video is not sponsored in any way. However, those links are associate links. So if you want to buy this mixer, I'm going to make a tiny percentage off each sale, and that's going to go to future content for you guys. So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.